Hello and welcome to my video. This is an introduction to the Groove Creator on the Yamaha PSR E463 keyboard. This video is for people who basically know nothing about the Groove Creator. So this is Groove Creator 101. Let's start with what is a groove on the E463. It's a small piece of pre-recorded music that continuously loops and plays that can be altered and modified as it is playing. How many grooves does the E463 have? The answer is there are 35 different grooves, and these are organized into 9 different categories. If you look on the keyboard on the far right-hand side, you'll see this. Here is a list of the 9 categories of the different grooves. If you download the data list manual, and by the way, I have a YouTube video that tells you how to download manuals. And if you look on page 19 of that manual, you will find this table, and this is a list of all 35 of the grooves. You know, the name of the groove really doesn't tell you a whole lot about what the groove is. I mean, what does South tell you? What does old school really mean? What in the world is trap? I don't know, but they had to call them something. So how do you select a groove? And the answer is there's a button right here. Let's zoom in on it. It's called the Groove Creator. And that's the button that you press to get this whole thing started. So click it. When you do and you look at your screen, this is what you should see. Now I'm assuming you've just turned on your keyboard. Everything's fresh. By default, when you press the Groove Creator button, you always go to groove number 1. And its name is Electric Dance, E-L-E-C Dance. And it shows you this is 1. Now with your rotary dial wheel at this time, you can spin it and dial in any one of the 35 grooves that you want to work with. Or you can use the numeric keypad on your keyboard to punch in the number if you happen to know what it is. I like to use just the rotary dial to dial it in. How many variations are there? Well, there are 35 grooves. And there are 12 different keys that you can play a groove in. And there are 4 variations, which we call sections, of each groove. So if you do all the math, it turns out there are 1,680 different grooves or variations of grooves that you can play. That's a lot. So let's talk about how to play the 4 different sections of a groove. And we're going to be looking at this section of your keyboard. So I'm assuming I've called up a groove and I have a groove loaded in my keyboard. Each of the 35 grooves has 4 variations, and they're labeled A, B, C, and D. They're called sections. And there's also something called a musical climax. This is the button you're going to play when you're ready to stop the groove. So as you will see in a moment when I go live, I can sit here and I can press these buttons in any order I want. Typically a DJ would start with section A and build excitement and the level of energy by going to B and then C and D. You can do anything you want. And you can sit here for 5 minutes or 10 or 50. You could sit here for 30 minutes punching these buttons and have 200 people out there on the dance floor dancing. And when you're ready to stop that song, press the musical climax, and as you will see in a moment, the groove comes to a dramatic ending. So let's go live to the E463 keyboard and play with the 4 sections of a groove that I have chosen. In this section of the video, we are going to play around with the 4 sections. So here they are, A, B, C, D, and then when I'm ready to end the groove, the musical climax. So I've chosen a groove which is 004. It is called UK Elec. That's my groove that I'm going to use. This is one of 35, and we'll only use this one. So I'm pressing section A, and now I'll press the start stop to start it playing as we listen to it. And I'm looking right here to see how many measures it is. And it's 7, 8, 1, and it starts over. So this section has 8 measures in it before it repeats. Now let's go to section B. Ready? Click. And I'm looking over here to see how many measures are in section B. 6, 7, 8. There's 8 measures in section B, and then it repeats. Okay, let's go to section C. Ready? Click. And I'm looking to see how many measures are in section C. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So section C has 8 measures, and then it repeats. All right, let's listen to section D. Ready? Click. 2, 1, 2. This one's real short. This only has 2 measures, and then it repeats. Back to A, C, B, D, back to A, C, D, B, D. And when I think my dancers have had enough, they've been out there 10, 15 minutes, it's ready to bring this to an end. And I'm going to do that by pressing the musical climax. Ready? Here we go. Click. And it stops. So the musical climax always brings the groove to a stop. And I would recommend always use the musical climax because you don't want to just to abruptly stop it. You want a professional sounding end. So that's how you use the sections. And you can go back and forth, A, C, A, D, A, C. You can create any pattern you want. And you can keep that up as long as you want this song to go. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You could keep those dancers out there for 30 minutes, constantly jumping back and forth from one section to another, just like a professional DJ. So that's what sections are all about. And every groove has 4 sections and a musical climax. Okay? In this next section, I want to talk about how to turn on and turn off any of the 6 tracks in a section of a groove. And we will be looking at this part of your keyboard. Let's zoom in for a closer look. So each section of a groove is composed of 6 different tracks, and you can think of the tracks as the different instruments. Typically, groove 1 and track 1 and track 2 are always going to be drums. And by the way, on this keyboard, these tracks are always made up of one of 2 things. They're either drums or they are some kind of a synthesizer sound. And the deal is, by punching these buttons, you can turn on and turn off the track. For example, a DJ may start out and all he has is track 1 turned on, which is usually a drum. And then slowly he will bring in track 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 to build energy and build excitement. But you get to decide. So each groove can have anywhere from 3 to 6 tracks. I've looked at all of the grooves and I have found out that the least number of tracks in any groove is 3. And the most tracks is 6. And by the way, most of the grooves do have 6 tracks turned on. And this is what you're going to be looking at. Pay no attention to these words. You are in the Groove Creators, and here are where the 6 tracks are listed. So you get to choose what track is turned on and turned off. So how do you know what track is playing? And the answer is you look at your screen. Because right here, you can instantly see if a track is turned on or off. If you see the number in black, the track is turned on. And in this example, all 6 tracks are turned on. Here's an example where only 3 of the 6 tracks are turned on. Tracks 1, 4, and 5. So that's how you always know what track have I turned on and what tracks are turned off. Just look at your screen. So let's go live to the E463 keyboard and play with the tracks of a groove. All right, here we are at the keyboard and I'm going to show you how to use the track controls. I've already selected a groove, which is groove number 4, UK Electric. And I have set up section B. And I'm just going to start playing it so you can hear what it sounds like. Now I'm going to turn off all the tracks. Click, 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 click. The groove is playing, but I've turned off all of the tracks just by clicking these buttons. Now I want you to hear each track. Here's track 1. Click. Okay, turn that off. Here's track 2. Here's track 3, and this one is strange. It's turned on. It's 8 measures long, and here it comes again. It just does that little shoo. All right. Here's track 4. Click. Little drum. Here's track 5. Nice. And here's track 6. So, I'm a DJ, and I've got 200 people out there on the dance floor. I'm going to start off with a drum beat. Track 1. And then I'm going to bring in track 5. And then I'll bring in 4. And then I'll bring in 2. Then I'll bring in 6. Then I'll bring in 3. Now I've got them all, and I look right up here, and I see all of my tracks are listed. Now I'm going to start turning off 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 1 and 6 are playing. Turn on 4. 1 and 4 are playing. Turn on 2. Turn off 1. Turn on 5. 6 on. 5 off. So you get the idea? I can turn on and turn off these 6 tracks in any order I want. So I can sit out there just with this one little section And I can go 5 or 10 minutes of changing these things as my dancers are out there dancing madly away. Here's everything. So that's track control, the ability for you to decide exactly which track. And so what you might do is just start off with a drum and then slowly bring the tracks in and then experiment with turning them on and off. There is no wrong or right. Nobody decides but you. You're the DJ. You get to decide what sounds good. Okay? In this section, I want to talk about the live controls. How do you use the live controls to alter or change a groove as it is playing? And we'll be looking at this section of the keyboard. Here it is up close. There are 2 buttons and 2 knobs. And I'm going to go through this to explain what the buttons and knobs all mean. And then we'll go live and do it live. So right from the get-go, I want to tell you this. Knob assignment number 4 is not used with the grooves. And here's how I learned that. In the owner's manual on page 25 is this table, and it tells you these 5 knob positions. And in position number 1, you can manipulate the groove. And in knob position number 2, you can manipulate the groove. And in knob position number 3, you can manipulate the groove. But in knob position number 4, no groove. You cannot change the attack and release of a groove. And finally, if you put this in position 5, sure enough, you can alter the groove. And I'll show all this to you live in a moment. So, how do you know what number the knob assign button is set to? And the answer is, look at your screen right here. And it even says knob assign. At all times, you can always glance at this screen and you will always know what position your knob assign button has been set to. So let's talk about this button, the keyboard and backing. This is real simple, folks. You must be in the backing position to manipulate a groove. I'll say that again. You must set this button to the backing position. And how do you know? You look at the screen, because right here it'll either say keyboard or backing. And what you want, do that again, you want to click this button until it says backing. This is the only way you can control a groove. I know it's a little confusing. I wish it said groove, but it doesn't. It says backing. Trust me, it will work. So I know what the knob assignment is. I know whether I'm in the backing, and I know what tracks are turned on, and I know exactly which groove. By the way, as I am playing a groove live, it is going to be sitting here telling me what measure I'm at. Some songs have 8 measures, some have 6. I'll show you one that only has 2 measures in a section and then it repeats. So I'm always glancing at this when I first call up a groove, I'm interested in how many measures is there before it repeats itself. And that's how I know. So let's go live to the E463 keyboard and let's play with the live controls. This is the most complicated part of manipulating grooves. Turning on the sections, that's easy. Turning on and off the tracks, that's easy. Manipulating the live controls, this is a little more complex and it's harder to hear what's going on. That's why looking at the screen is so important. Here we are at the live controls, and I've set up a groove, and this is what it sounds like. It's that same one we've been using. All right, so now I'm going to take you through all of the live controls. So I'm reaching over here to the knob assign, and I'm setting it to number 1. And then on the backing, I'm clicking on that, and I'm looking at my screen, and I've got this set knob assigned set to number 1, and my tracking button is set to backing so that I can control the grooves. Now, my dial A is going to control the cutoff, and my dial B is going to control the resonance. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the groove, and then I will twist these dials, and I'm going to tell you what position. Is it in the 9 o'clock, the 12 o'clock, the 3 o'clock, so you can know how far I've twisted these. All right, let's start the groove. And I've got a hold of knob A, and I'm going to turn it to the 9 o'clock position. Hear that? I've turned it to the 7 o'clock. Now I'm going to turn it up to the 12 o'clock. Here we go. I'm at the 12 o'clock. Now I'm going to turn it to 3 o'clock. Here we go. Now I'm going to turn it to 5 o'clock. Now back to 12 o'clock. Now back to 9 o'clock. I'll put it back to 12. Now I'm going to come over here to knob B. And I'm going to play with the resonance. I'm going to turn it, it's setting at 12 o'clock. Turn it to 3. Here we go. Turn it to 5 o'clock. Back to 3. Back to noon, 12. Turn it to 9 o'clock. 12. 3 o'clock. 12. Okay, now let's set this to position number 2, knob assigned 2, and the A knob is going to control the reverb, and the B knob is going to control the chorus. And I've got my tracking button set to backing, and I look on my screen to see that. So let's play with the reverb first. That is knob A. Let's start it off. It's set in the 9 o'clock position. I don't hear much reverb. I'm going to crank it up to 12. Don't hear much yet. 3 o'clock. Here we go. Yeah, there's reverb. 5 o'clock. Back to 12. Okay, now let's play with chorus, and that's the B knob. Ready? We'll start it off. I'm going to put it in the 9 o'clock position. The farther to the left, counterclockwise, the less there is. Here we go. 9 o'clock. 12 o'clock. Not much yet. Going to 3 o'clock. Here we go. Yeah. 5 o'clock. 3 o'clock. 12 o'clock. Okay. All right. Position 4, nothing. Let's go to position 3, which is DSP. And I have my DSP set up to distortion. So knobs A and B control the amount of distortion that you're going to hear. I've got it the tracking set to backing, and we are at knob assignment number 3, which is DSP, and I have my DSP selected. And by the way, I have a YouTube video on how do you select the DSP. I've got it selected to distortion. So here we go. They're both set at 12 o'clock. I'm going to put B to 3 o'clock. Yeah, it's distorting. 5 o'clock. A to 3 o'clock. O'clock. A to noon. B to 12 o'clock. Okay, distortion. I can't honestly say I'm very fond of that, but at least you can play with it. Maybe you like it. You can, of course, your DSP, you can set that up to lots of things, to tremolo, to rotary speaker, to distortion 1, distortion 2, flanger. Go look at the video on how to set up the DSP, because you can apply any of those to your groove. I happen to just choose distortion. So now let's go to knob assignment number 5. Okay, this one is really interesting. Knob A controls the volume. Let me show you. It's setting at noon, 12 o'clock. Let me start turning it to 3 o'clock. The volume goes down. This is at 3 o'clock. Let me turn it to 5 o'clock. And it didn't even get there. It's set at 4 o'clock. I'm going to go from 4 o'clock back to noon slowly. Here we go. So knob A controls the volume of the groove. It's that simple. Knob B is where things really get interesting. So we're set up, we're playing section B. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be pressing and holding down the section button as I start twisting this. It's hard to describe what I'm going to do, but you will hear it. What I'm going to do is it shortens the amount of time until it starts looping again. The time gets shorter and shorter. Hard to describe, but you're going to hear it. This gets really wild. So here we go. I'm going to press and hold the B because that's the section I'm playing. I'll put this at 9 o'clock. Ready? Now the section is repeating very fast, see? Now it gets wild. Watch what happens when I twist this from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Here we go. And now from 12 to 3. Let go. Do it again. Going from 9 to 3. Here we go. Let's go to section A. Press and hold it. I'm at 9 o'clock. Here we go. Going to go from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Here we go. Woo! it at 9 o'clock. I'm holding it down. Repeats fast. This is at 9. We're going to go to 3. Here we go. Okay, let's do D. Got this set at 9 o'clock. Hold down D. It's repeating fast. Going to go from 9 to 3. Gets crazy. Here we go. Back to B. Hold it down. Twist the knob. Okay. Hard to describe, but when you hear it, this is fun to play with. So what you do is you hold this down as you twist this knob, and as you go from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, the amount of time before it repeats gets shorter and shorter until it's you get this. Got it back. Okay, so now you know what the re-trigger attack button does. When you set this knob assignment up to 5, knob B controls the re-trigger attack. Go play with it. It's lots of fun. Okay, that's all I wanted to show you on the live controls. Some interesting effects. You can play a voice instrument with your right hand as you play a groove. And the groove will play in any key you select with your left hand. And I'll tell you right now, this doesn't work well with some grooves. Some grooves change keys so many times that you just can't follow along with your right hand. In my little demonstration in a moment, I've chosen a groove that does work well. So what I will do is in my left hand, I'm going to be hitting chords. And in my right hand, I'll set up a synthesizer voice, and I will be playing a melody. And the groove will be playing as though it were my style. So I'm playing along with the groove. Let's go live to the E463 keyboard and play a voice with the right hand as a groove is being controlled by my left hand. I'll be hitting the chords, changing chords with my left hand, and the groove will change keys as I do that. So in this section, I'm going to play a groove with my left hand, and with my right hand, I'm going to play some melody. Now I've gone in and I've set up the voice for the right hand is voice number 159, something called port tone. Sounds like that. So instead of playing a style, I'll play the groove in my left hand, and as I play the chords, the groove will change to match whatever key the chord is that I'm playing. Ready? Here we go. The end. Thanks for watching, and be well.